The last 24 hours have been extremely volatile for the overall crypto market thanks to Gary Gensler, and we saw this complaint from the SEC against Binance exactly in these areas, and we saw this dump all the way back down to this very important trend line from this downward sloping channel that we have been in for quite a while, and we saw this perfect bounce from the levels of 25,350 US dollars, and yes, the inverse Cramer signal once again worked, and we saw this pump all the way back up because yes, Cramer said if you have money with Binance, beat your fellow investor and get out as your assets are commingled. First out might get the money back. So yes, this inverse signal once again worked, and we saw this pump all the way back up, but this wasn't the only reason why we saw this pump exactly in these regions, because yes, Gary Gensler himself came out and he had an interview, but we're going to find out exactly what he said and why we're going to expose him for all the things that he's doing with the crypto market, because yes, clearly there's a different agenda behind all of his doings, and we're also going to look at the charts to find out if we could expect, is this just a fake out, or we're going to come all the way back down, or is Bitcoin finally going to break even higher, and we're going to show the world, yes, Bitcoin is the safest asset, and you want a dollar cost average into Bitcoin. And like always, if you're new to this channel, smash up the like button and subscribe, and most importantly, activate the bell, and let's directly find out what happened in the last 24 hours. Binance sued by SEC with 13 charges. Coinbase sued by SEC for acting as unlicensed broker. SEC files court document to freeze Binance US assets. So yes, we can see these charges from Binance and also Coinbase for the unregistered securities, but first of all of these exchanges, they are actually trying to change all of their regulations to comply with the US regulatory demands, but as we can see with the United States, the regulations aren't in place, and the SEC is also not helping the whole industry to really comply with all of these regulations, because there aren't actually any regulations. But if we take a look at the complaint that was filed from the SEC against XRP and Ripple, they have been in a court case for several years. I think it's around about 2.5 years already, and we can see Binance accused of running illegal exchange in the US. Coinbase says we will get the job done in court. And yes, they're already preparing to go to court because first of all, this is a civil complaint. This is not actually a criminal charge against Binance and CZ. So this will most probably go into court, and this will take a very long time until all these cases have been resolved. And if we take a closer look at JP Morgan and all of these big investment companies and also banks, they're already taking all of these penalties into consideration because they're also doing illegal operations and money laundering, which is actually proven. But if you take a closer look at the whole financial system, this is just normal business practice. So yes, most probably they're just going to get a fine and they'll get banned from the United States. And yes, they filed a document to freeze all the Binance US assets. But guys, if you're really into crypto, all your assets will be off already from these exchanges and you hold them in your self-custody, because this is exactly why Bitcoin was invented, to be decentralized. So what the SEC and the United States with its regulatory uncertainty is actually doing, they're just driving the adoption of decentralization. So let's find out what Gary Gensler said in the interview yesterday. Gary Gensler all but saying this is officially about paving a path forward for CBDCs versus anyone who opposes them. So let's find out what he exactly said.
We don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar, it's called the euro, it's called the yen. They're all digital right now. We already have digital investments. And you have entrepreneurs representing digital investments on this program all day long. And it's whether it's the big tech companies, the automobile companies, you name it. It's all digital right now, the investing world. So what is the real underlying value of these tokens? And that's why you need full, fair, and truthful disclosure.
So yes, what is he actually telling us? He's fighting against the whole crypto industry and the blockchain technology, because he's saying we already have digital currencies, the US dollar, the euro, and the yen. So is he actually trying to push all these CBDCs, and is he actually trying to destroy the crypto market? But we had this pump towards the upside after this meeting, and this interview was exactly in these areas, and Bitcoin said yes. And that is exactly the message behind this whole thing, why we saw this massive pump. Because yes, Bitcoin is decentralized, and you don't want to hold any CBDCs where they can actually prevent you from buying stuff. So yes, Bitcoin is deflationary, and Bitcoin is the money of the future. But if we look at all of these facts, somebody is paying Gary Gensler to stop the whole crypto industry, because let's go back and find out what Gary Gensler actually did. And yes, Gary Gensler is a professor of practice, global economics and management at MIT. So let's find out even more. Gary Gensler is a research affiliate at MIT. He is also the chairman of the US Security and Exchange Commission in the Biden administration. He conducts research and teaches on blockchain technology, digital currencies, financial technology, and public policy. So yes, what can we see here? He is actually teaching blockchain technology. And he's all about blockchain, because if we go over to the next video, and this was done in the year 2019, where he was holding a lecture at MIT. So let's find out what he exactly said in the year 2019.
I'm going to choose to dive into two areas that I'm spending most of my time, both blockchain technology and AI, machine learning, deep learning. I've been welcomed by Andy Lowe and Sylvia McCallie and Shafi over to be a co-director of FinTech at the Computer Science and AI Lab, so I spend a lot of time around that, and I teach and have stood up with Antoinette and Leonid and others a bunch of crypto and blockchain courses. But I think those are two relevant areas. A little note on payments.
Yes, so a relevant area is the blockchain technology, and he was actually also promoting Algorand. And yes, these are the assets where the lawsuit from the SEC was filed against Binance and Coinbase. And yes, we can see that Algorand is one of the coins where the SEC filed this lawsuit against, that they are unregistered securities. But what has happened from the time in the year 2019 where he was actually promoting Algorand? And here you can see exactly the major fraud that comes in with Gary Gensler, and that it is obvious that he is getting his paycheck from somewhere else to block the crypto industry, because he was actually promoting and teaching blockchain technology. And this is also exactly why we saw this pump for Bitcoin, because yes, Bitcoin is decentralized and the people are standing up for Bitcoin. And this is why, yes, even if all these exchanges get closed, the people will self-custody all of the cryptocurrencies. And this is exactly the beauty of Bitcoin. It is decentralized and you don't need any third party for any payment. And this is exactly why you should buy Bitcoin. Yes, maybe we're going to come all the way back down to this very important trend, but we're going to look at the facts just in a minute. And these major lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase are just there to shake the markets and get all of the investors out. Because yes, crypto is not only about the US, it is global, it's decentralized, and no one can stop Bitcoin. And that's why we saw this pump towards the upside. So actually the SEC pumped Bitcoin because the people like you and me know that Bitcoin is the money of the future. So now let's go away from all these news and all this FUD, and let's go directly over to the charts. We're going to draw a Fibonacci retracement level all the way from this dump, this last high, all the way to the swing low, and then we can see, yes, the price movement came all the way back down to the 78.6, and this candle perfectly closed exactly at the 78.6. So yes, once again we can see the power of the Fibonacci retracement levels, and we can see that the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level is all the way back into this major support area round about the 26,255 level. So yes, if we're going to see this rejection from this support, which now turned into resistance, we could expect that we're once again going to come back into these areas, or maybe even the 38.2, which is exactly this major resistance zone. But guys, on the daily chart we can see we perfectly bounced off from this trend, from this downward sloping channel that the price of Bitcoin has been holding. So yes, we can see that from all these news we came all the way back up into these regions. But yes, we're going to find out which levels we have to break to really say that yes, we're going to see a higher price movement and that the SEC won't stop Bitcoin, and we're going to see a breakout from this channel. So let's go over on the weekly chart, and on the weekly chart we can see that yes, we also had this week towards the downside where we saw that the USDC stablecoin depacked, and we saw this dump towards the downside, and afterwards we saw this massive pump towards the upside. Now we saw this consolidation forming lower highs. But yes, we saw this complaint from Binance and Coinbase, and the markets came all the way back down to my worst case scenario, round about the 25,300 US dollars. And at the moment we are seeing this doji candle, and this means we got this wick towards the downside, but the price movement stayed above this range. So what could we expect? First of all, on the weekly chart, yes, we have round about 4 days left in this week, so what we would like to see that the price movement stays above the range of $26,700 that we're going to close exactly here. But what is going to be extremely bullish if this weekly candle closes above the previous high of the last week. So this is going to tell us that yes, we're going to see a higher price movement and that this has been the low. But first of all, let's go back on the lower time frames to find out what we could expect in the immediate short term. And guys, if you want to support this channel and if you like all of these updates, smash up the like button and subscribe and activate the bell. So yes, on the 4-hour chart we can perfectly see we reached the top of this channel and we saw this move all the way back down, and then we saw this quick dump after the Binance SEC lawsuit. But guys, we saw this pump back up. We perfectly bounced off from the support round about the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. So now what could we expect in the immediate short term? First of all, yes, we have to form a higher high in comparison to this dump which we saw round about the $27,500, and this would also be the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. So if we're going to see this movement all the way back up, guys, we should really break this level because we see we have a lot of resistance in these areas and also exactly where we saw this dump. So first of all, Bitcoin has to come back above this very important support, which is now at the moment resistance. So yes, ultimately, if we're going to form a higher high and also lower highs, we could expect that Bitcoin will once again try to break out from the $27,850 level. So these are the levels that Bitcoin needs to hold. We need to hold this major support round about the $26,100. But first of all, on the 30-minute chart, it looks quite bullish because yes, Bitcoin has formed this high and we saw this major pump. But what is quite positive is that we're staying in this range and that we didn't see a dump all the way back down, because yes, this is telling us that this wasn't a fake out. So at the moment, I'm actually quite bullish for Bitcoin that we're going to see this turnaround in these areas, maybe form a W, a double bottom, and then break out through this major resistance so that we can hold the $27,000 as support. So yes guys, if you always want to stay up to date, make sure to sign up to my free Telegram group. And yes, I really appreciate each one of you, and smash up the like button. And if you want to find out even more about crypto, make sure to watch this video and be for crypto. We see each other in the next video.